D-Row, I've always thought pitching, the three pillars of pitching, velocity, command, deception. You have to have at least two of those three. If you only have one, you can't be a major league pitcher. You need two of those three. The Mariners have figured out what deception is. First of all, I want to tell you, this rotation, this entire staff attacks the strike zone like no staff I've seen in the last 5 years. I mean, these are crazy rates. That first pitch strike percentage, that's the highest we've seen since we started tracking this.
Well, you got big-time stuff. I'm sure their pitching coaches like, your stuff plays in the zone. Get it in the zone, kind of like what Tampa does.
They're a lot like Tampa.
Okay.
And another reason they're like Tampa is because they love deception. Yes, they're in the zone a lot, but it's not like they're just grooving in hittable fastballs. I like to look at where the ball comes. You know, as a hitter, when you see the pitcher's release point, when you decide your swing decision, you're deciding where that ball is going to be when it gets here, right? Yep. That's based on all the pitches you've seen your whole life. It's called chunking information. So you think, okay, the ball's coming from here, it's going to wind up here, I will swing. Or maybe not swing if it's down here. Well, if you have pitchers who are throwing from different places, that defeats your whole chunking system. Your algorithms are thrown off. That's what the Mariners are doing. Let me show you the average release point for a major league pitcher today, a starting pitcher, right? This is Contreras to the Pirates here. Nothing against him because he's got good stuff, but I'm telling you, it defines what it means as a hitter to see a pitch coming from the same spot you see most of the time with the same average velocity. Average release point, average release extension, average velocity, that gets hit. You don't want to be average. As a pitcher, you want velocity, sure, you can get away with mistakes in the middle, but deception gives you a lot more room for error. So what is deception? The Mariners have it like I think no other staff in baseball. We go through their rotation, you will see they will stay out of the average zone better than anybody else. Luis Castillo, I call him the slinger, right?
The nightmare.
Nobody throws this hard from that low of a release angle. He used to be a sinker changeup guy.
Yeah.
He's playing that four-seam up because he's throwing from a low release point to a high part in the zone. Look at this release point here. That's so low as a right-handed hitter, and pitching up in the zone, the Mariners love to do that. Logan Gilbert, he's like 6'7", right? I call him the long arm. It's not just his height. Look how he gets down the mound. He's a long strider. The hand is out in front of him. He's got the longest extension of any pitcher in baseball, almost 7.5 feet. So it's like he moves the pitching rubber up a foot. Now, I want you to see where the ball comes out of his hand. Stop it here where on the release point. It's not just, look at the stride here. You see how long that is? Look where his hand is as well. Look at how he gets down the mound with his whole body. So release point, it's not just stride, it's getting that hand out there, and that's going to give you more life. That's deception because hitters are not used to the ball being on them like Logan Gilbert gets it on them. We're not done with this staff by any long shot. George Kirby, the strike machine. Oh, my goodness.
Pounds the zone.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it's not just throwing strikes, it's quality strikes. He is always on the edges of this strike zone with quality stuff. We have never seen a pitcher this young with this kind of command. That sounds like hyperbole, right? But it's not. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Strikeout to walk rate, 25 and under. All-time best, 9.5. And look, Jay Beaver's second on this list. Young pitchers with command. And he's not even close to George Kirby. I mean, usually it takes a while to put up these kind of strikeout to walk numbers.
Classic Ben Sheets in 2004. I faced him a ton. He was nasty.
All right, let's move on with, we got more in this Seattle rotation. And again, there's always deception here. Mr. Country Hardball. That's Bryce Miller. Why do I say that? No one spins a four-seamer like Miller. Highest RPMs on a four-seamer in baseball, and guess what? He's going to throw it almost 2/3 of the time. Here it is, folks. Try to hit it. Only Justin Steele and Michael Kopech throw their fastball more than Miller. That's how good it is. Here it is. Try to hit it. Brian Wu, the VAA machine. What the heck is VAA? Vertical attack angle. Remember I was talking about Castillo? You throw the ball from a low release point to the top of the zone. This is even lower than Castillo. And that fastball, it hit 135 when he throws at the top of the zone. You see how he uses his legs to get down, that low kind of pushing action there? Emerson Hancock, he pitched yesterday, came out early, a little bit of concern about the shoulder. Funky fastball, four-seamer, but I want you to see how it comes out of his hand.
Oh, yeah, it's like pushing
You see, most four-seamers, a pitcher wants to get that wrist right behind the baseball. True 12 o'clock spin. You see, it's coming out a little bit sideways with him. He's got a little funk to a four-seam fastball, and you're going to see some funky swings because of that. Now, I also think it kind of puts him at risk a little bit with health. He's got to watch his shoulder health a little bit. but that's just incredible movement. But the funk on that fastball, you get a lot of weird swings off of that. So this Seattle rotation is giving you stuff, plenty of velocity, plenty of RPMs. But take a look at this. Average release point is 5.8. So you got Gilbert, who's way up there, Kirby slightly above, 4 below the average release point. Seattle loves low release point to the high point in the zone. That's the hardest pitch to hit in today's game. As long as you have really good velocity. Here's what I'm talking about. Here's our baseline. Contreras here, average release height. Kirby and Gilbert are above. Look how much lower. So when you go to face the Mariners, all that information, and your brain is an algorithm, D-Row. Yeah. All that information works like this. You don't have time to sift through everything in the box. That ball's on its way. When you see guys throwing from this angle, especially when they're coming to the top of the zone, that defeats everything you've learned in years playing baseball. You say, hey, that ball's going to be here. That's why if you watch, especially these 4 when they pitch, what happens when they're up here? Where's the barrel? Where's the ball?
They're
the
underneath
ball,
it.
the barrel's underneath the ball because you think that ball's going to be here, but because of the angle, it's above.
No, it's so true. And if you get the same look over and over, by game 3 of the series, you're getting hammered. I used to remember, just going back to like days playing with the Cubs, Pittsburgh had Zach Duke, Gorzolani, Paul Maholm, and they'd run them out all in a row. And by the 3rd game, you're like, you felt sorry for that starter.
You're locked in.
Because you look the same as the other 2.
Yeah.
Here, if I'm getting Logan Gilbert, then you're throwing me Luis Castillo, and then I get, right back to Kirby and then Wu on the back end. It's like, I have no baseline for hunting windows like Austin Riley talks about. No.
So every night they get a chance to win, I'm not ruling them out for winning the West Division, D-Row. They're 3 out.
3 out.
They have 7 left against the Rangers.
Yep.
And every night they're giving you a different look with stuff and deception.
And their offense is coming together. They punched out at just a ridiculous rate in the first half. So Teoscar's swinging it, a couple other guys in that lineup.